There was a time where flower crowns, galaxy edits, and Benedict Cumberbatch ruled the internet. Welcome to 2014 Tumblr, where chaos and aesthetic collided like never before. Hi everyone, my name is Tiana True, but you can call me T. Before we dive into the depths of the internet, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. Now, if you were on Tumblr at this time or you grew up on Tumblr, you're probably entitled to financial compensation. I'd also like to say, due to the sheer size of Tumblr and me being one person, I tried to research as many memes, as much history, as much culture as possible. But if I miss something, please comment down below, because I love reliving this time just as much as you probably do. Or if you have nothing to add, then I like your shoelaces. Wikipedia states, Tumblr, pronounced Tumblr, is a microblogging and social networking website founded by David Karp. Tumble blogs, Tumble logs, short form blogs, hence the name Tumblr. Karp initially anticipated for a more established blogging company to introduce Tumble logging themselves. After a year of waiting and no dice, he decided to take matters into his own hands with another man by the name of Marco Arment. Tumblr was launched in February 2007, and within 2 weeks it had gained over 75,000 users. 3 years later, Arment had left the company in 2010 to work on Instapaper. It's the way I had no idea what Instapaper was. I legit thought it was like a predecessor to Instagram, but I don't think it is. In June 2012, Tumblr featured its first major advertising campaign. This was in collaboration with Adidas, who launched an official soccer Tumblr blog and bought ad placements on the user dashboard. This happened only 2 months after Tumblr had announced they were going to be moving towards paid advertising on the platform. David Karp initially targeted artists, but soon after pivoted to young people and students. The youths love self-expression, what can I say? On a more serious note though, while Tumblr users were super community driven, they also weren't at the same time. Tumblr did have a reputation of being super toxic, aggressive, hypocritical, you know, all that jazz. The interface of Tumblr allowed users to share a variety of content. This includes still images, video, text posts, GIFs, etc., etc. And users can follow other Tumblr blogs and view their content through a customized dashboard where they can engage with the post by reblogging or liking them. As of 2024, Tumblr hosts over 519 million blogs. Tumblr also is pretty much a prime example of Rule 34, which is if it exists, then there's probably porn of it. But if you're watching this, you probably knew that. On September 9th, 2011, the 10 billionth post on Tumblr was made, and it was celebrated with script confetti writing on a user's dashboard. I was not around when this happened, September 2011. I joined the platform December 2011, so I missed out on that cutie little moment. I am so curious about what the actual post was. I don't know if they ever like recorded what it was or the person knew that they made the 10 billionth post, but I don't know, I'd be curious, like I wonder if it was just like a keyboard smash. On May 20th, 2013, news broke that Yahoo and Tumblr had reached an agreement for Yahoo to purchase Tumblr for $1.1 billion. A ton of us were super unhappy. Like, I fully remember this. I remember thinking, oh my god, it's not gonna be the same anymore, and it wasn't. People truly thought this was the nail in the coffin for Tumblr. It kind of was and wasn't at the same time. It didn't matter what kind of blog you ran. Pretty much everyone was universally unhappy about this news. And when things were frustrating on the platform, everyone just blamed Yahoo, which also kind of became a meme. It was like 2013's version of this is going to ruin the tour. I mean, I kept using Tumblr for years after Yahoo acquired it, so it didn't keep me from editing flower crown collages or posting text posts, but in 2016, advertising goals were not met, and Yahoo wrote down $712 million off of Tumblr's value, and they eventually sold the platform to WordPress for $3 million in 2019. The dashboard, aka the Dash, is the primary tool of a typical Tumblr user. It's a chronological live feed of recent posts from blogs that you follow and that you can engage with. You could reblog things by themselves, or you could reblog by adding a comment, similar to quote tweeting when that still existed. The dashboard allowed for users to upload images, GIFs, text posts, videos, links, quotes, all that jazz, with a click of a button displayed at the top of their dashboard. As of June 2022, users can also turn off specific reblogs on certain posts. Users are able to set up a schedule, so that means that they can spread their posts out over hours or even days. So if you wrote fan fiction and you wrote the entire novel but you didn't want to be seen as crazy, so you just decided to release chapters week by week, that was what the queue was for. But I mean, if you're writing fan fiction, then that ship has has already sailed and you're deemed as weird. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I literally did this all the time on my blog. Like if I was reblogging too much, I was like, okay, we'll just push everything out. I intuitively knew as a 15, 16-year-old that people didn't want posts flooding their dashboards. My friends in high school called me Tumblr famous, but I really only amassed to about like 10,000 followers. But what do you know? I became a social media manager. Tumblr user to social media manager pipeline, rise up. Tagging allowed users to help their audience find posts, whether that be about certain topics or people. For example, if someone were to upload a picture of Lady Gaga and they wanted to help people find that post, then they would hashtag it as Lady Gaga. And others could potentially find this post when they searched the Lady Gaga tag and ultimately find the original uploader's blog. You could also follow certain tags, and if you wanted to be updated about when new posts were being added to them. It was also a way for you to index your own blog. So if you wanted your pages to have a full Lady Gaga page, then you could reblog post and tag it as Lady Gaga, so you could go to that page on your blog and see all of those posts that you're organizing. I remember everyone, including myself, having a hashtag me tag. So you could go to someone's blog and then type in the last part of the URL going tag/me, so you could see all their selfies. Or sometimes if you wanted to be cool, you would reblog like a meme and go hashtag me if you want to be like funny and relatable. The only tags that I still see that I follow are my usernames tag and then a bunch of networks that I was a part of. I ran a humor blog, and the Tumblr mutuals that I made, we would create little networks to support each other in. Similar to vlogging or TikTok groups today, except a lot less cool. Definitely not of the same scale, but we would reblog each other's posts and hang out on Tiny Chat and later Skype. The inbox. I don't know why I'm scared to talk about it. Tumblr blogs had the option to receive messages from other Tumblr users, or you could submit one to yourself. Everyone had the option to do it anonymously too. On November 10th, 2015, Tumblr introduced an integrated instant messaging system. Basically, Tumblr users could DM each other. The feature was rolled out in a viral manner, and it was initially made only available to 1,500 users, and you could only be able to instant message if someone who had the tool instant messaged you first. But before that time, everyone loved receiving anonymous ask. It felt like you were cool and people wanted to know more about you. I loved answering them and tagging it as anon, so I got to index all my anon ask in one place on my blog. But anonymous ask gave people the confidence to say like rude or inappropriate things, or just weird in general. And I did experience this, but definitely not as much as my mutuals or other people on the site. Also, you're lying if you say you've never submitted an anonymous ask to yourself, especially self-bullying or self-sympathy. Whether it was positive or negative, whether it was Tumblr or not, it's okay, we can admit it now. We've grown. HTML editing is probably one of the more unique ways you can edit a social profile. Tumblr allowed users to edit their blog's theme using HTML to control the appearance of their blog. Custom themes are able to be shared and used by other users or sold. You could add music, you could have a completely custom layout. The possibilities were low-key endless. Truly amazed at what some people were able to do. So I was too lazy to teach myself HTML. Hold on, let me get this liner done real quick. Which honestly worked out in the end because it seems like no one remembers how to do it. I don't know if the majority of people could code HTML anymore if their lives depended on it. A lot of my Tumblr friends did do it though. It was honestly really impressive that we were like 14 through 17 years old at the time and we were doing stuff like that. I feel like I would have liked this better if it was white. Anyway, it was really just a great example of learning by doing. The more practice you had, the better you became at it. And since Tumblr was such an integral part of our lives at the time, and it was a form of expressing ourselves, doing HTML editing all the time just became supernatural. No, I can't believe I just said that. But anyway, love that we were exposed to such a high-level skill as children, and I'm curious if any web developers or jobs adjacent to that came out of that time. Guys, I'm sorry, I literally can't talk, and yeah, that looks way better. Oh, the fandom. There's a fandom for everything, including people who probably shouldn't have fandoms. One Direction was big as ever. Tumblr was the birth of a lot of FBI behavior by young girls, where every detail of those boys, from their favorite snack to what hotel they currently were at, was readily available. I don't even know like where to start and end with this, but like the fan fiction, the Imagine post, which was fueled by that music video. Who do you think gave you the hop? Your Name, being sold to One Direction. Other bands that it didn't stop at: 5 Seconds of Summer, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, 21 Pilots. This was the holy trinity of anyone who was anyone wearing skinny jeans and strumming a ukulele. And if music wasn't your thing, no worries there, because there was also books and movies and television. Just thinking of the books, I'm like Twilight, Hunger Games, Divergent, Harry Potter. People took house quizzes, fan casted the Marauders, debated shipping wars like PETA versus Gale. And let's not forget The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns and any other John Green book. What kind of Tumblr video would this be if I didn't mention Super Who? The unholy trinity of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock Holmes. And if you're new here, this was nothing like That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Although if it was, the fandom would have lost their minds because they created edits in the similar vein. Very questionable shipping choices. And then there was what I like to call the very general 2014 Tumblr aesthetic, which is a whole mood in of itself. I'm talking Lana Del Rey, Charlie XCX, Marina and the Diamonds, singing beautiful anthems for every pick-me girl on the platform. The 1975 and The Neighborhood kind of gave us a monochrome sadness, and Lorde was making poetry. It wasn't just about the music though. It was flower crowns, it was galaxy prints, it was pastel, it was photos of Doc Martens paired with captions like, I'm not sad, but I'm not happy either. Adjacently, YouTubers were also a really big thing at this time. I'm talking Dan and Phil, I'm talking Tyler Oakley, Connor Franta, Troye Sivan, Casper Lee, Grace Helbig, etc, etc. Since Tumblr was such a home to the queer community, it allowed like queer YouTubers to really thrive there too. But some of these YouTubers were just Australian or British, and people were just obsessed with One Direction at the time, so that was also a big factor. Whatever the fandom was, there was a place for it. The 2014 aesthetic makes me reflect on the majority of my time spent on the platform. It truly was a melting pot of creativity and self-expression. It really cemented a very unique legacy. Reblogging like a raccoon with like a funny quote on it. I think that's why my humor is so messed up today. Flower crowns, galaxy print, mustaches, Doc Martens, skinny jeans, chokers, denim jacket, high-waisted everything, flannels, crop tops, you know the drill. Our type of blog bled into our style. So if you ran a soft grunge blog, then you probably had a similar style. If you ran a One Direction blog, you probably wanted to be wearing fresh tops if you weren't already. Although Tumblr was super fun, there were some parts that were a little bit darker for sure, like the promotion of self-harm or EDs, just general romanticizing of it all. And Tumblr knew that themselves, because in February 2012, Tumblr banned self-harm blogs, just general blogs that promoted that sort of thing. When you search terms on Tumblr like depression, anxiety, or suicide, Tumblr now has a PSA page pop up that directs users to resources like the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. On a more positive note of the platform, it was a home to a lot of LGBTQIA users. Multiple researchers looking into Tumblr have found that the website is often used for community building and a place to explore identity formation and gender expression. Prior to the 2018 content ban, transgender users would post their journeys and document them on their blog. Many users really enjoyed the ability to be anonymous and cultivate their own identities that they were transitioning to, because Tumblr allowed for them to post their personal information in a more safe way. I totally remember seeing people run blogs like this. People would answer questions about their transition and tag their posts on their blog so that others could return back to these posts as a resource. So it was really sad in 2018 when this adult content ban happened. Full blogs ended up being deleted because there was a blurred line of what was considered adult content. At the time of the Yahoo acquisition, Tumblr was described by technology journalists as having a sizable amount of pornographic content. An analysis conducted by news and technology site TechCrunch on May 20th, 2013 showed that over 22% of all traffic in and out of Tumblr was classified as pornography. In addition, a reported 16.45% of blogs on Tumblr exclusively contained pornographic material. So like I said, by the end of 2018, a lot of it had been banned on Tumblr, with the very few and far between exceptions, which was a very dark day in internet history. The platform known for having the most freedom of self-expression had become really censored, and there was a bit of a mourning period. So it's not like I don't understand why they did the things that they did, but it does really suck that topics related to body positivity and gender affirming surgery at the time was caught in the crossfire. It really sucks about the harm that was done to the queer community. Switching back to a more positive note, these are things that altered my brain chemistry while using the platform. If you haven't already commented down below when I said I like your shoelaces, the response is thanks, I stole them from the president. Why this is the case, I couldn't tell you. I just remember it was one of the first few posts I saw when I was on Tumblr. GIF versus GIF. Although the creator said it was GIF, I think he's wrong and it's actually GIF, so argue with the wall. John Green as a figure as a whole, but also when somebody reblogged one of his posts and completely rewrote it and it was super sexually explicit. The edited post went so viral that Tumblr ended up changing its features so that we can't edit someone's additional text when they reblog something. But in true Tumblr fashion, it became a copy pasta meme. This is not a Tumblr video if I don't mention just girly things. Super popular in the 2010s. It was so random. It would just take like a photo of sushi and it'd be like going on a sushi date. Just girly things. The photos were super aesthetic and they were just romanticizing like normal everyday things, which I'm such a fan of. Just girly things was ahead of our time. Over time it became widely parodied, which just kind of like made it even more popular. And funnily enough, the founder of that blog actually came out as lesbian and got married to her wife. So cute. Mishapocalypse. This was an online flash mob organized by someone none other a part of the Super Hulock fandom. It took place on April 1st, 2013. Hundreds of bloggers changed their profile picture to be a picture of Misha Collins. Original picture was taken in 2009 when he was at San Diego Comic-Con. The idea was first suggested about a month before. It gained like 64,000 notes and people were just into it. Like a month later, like they just followed through and everyone woke up to everyone having that dang photo of him as their profile picture and it bled into Twitter and eventually he even saw it. DashCon. I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm making a video about DashCon as a whole, but just know it was supposed to be a Tumblr convention where like everyone was supposed to be like one big happy family and meet up in the Midwest, but it was like super poorly managed and turned into a huge dumpster fire. It was like Firefest before Firefest was a thing, and in true Tumblr fashion it became a meme. I literally feel like making this video is having me transport back to 2014 because I'm like, my eyeliner's not even. However, I would not be wearing blush during this time, that's for sure. Other notable memes were Hey Girls, Did You Know? Which was just a 4-panel square of like a webcam selfie series and people were just exploiting it because they thought it was silly. The original photo set was deleted after Tumblr had gotten a hold of it. Disneyland, Peter Pan. Ugh, I forgot about this. Fandom culture was just such a big part of Tumblr that they even had it carry over to Disneyland character actors and people were obsessed with this Peter Pan. He became like a minor Tumblr celebrity. The Cole Sprouse experiment, lest we forget. Yes, Cole Sprouse, the twin from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, made a Tumblr page to have a social experiment on us. Why? Lord knows, but he says it was because he was a student at NYU and he was doing a project because he was majoring in archaeology and anthropology. His blog was titled Culture Concept and it was eventually revealed that it was an experiment and Tumblr lost its minds. The backlash was crazy. He was not well liked after that. Halsey and her Tumblr blog and the reblogging of her poetry post. I feel like we forget that Halsey was one of the girls. She basically used the platform as a digital diary and originally posted her music there. Just made her feel so relatable. Every post of her screamed, "I'm not like other girls," which was the exact energy everyone wanted. She really was the blueprint for the mid-2010s Tumblr aesthetic. The blue hair, the bold eyeliner, definitely a vibe. And crazily enough, the fact that she allegedly dated Maddie Healy from the 1975, she's a Tumblr girl. Bimbo Picks Up a Book is also a really good favorite that still comes back out today for obvious reasons. Moon Moon was also a really funny one because someone was like doing one of those charts where it's like your birthday and the day you were born is your wolf name, and this poor person's name was Moon Moon, and so Moon Moon just became a super big meme because everyone knew how ridiculous it was. That got up to like 158,000 notes within the first 2 weeks. One that I was weirdly obsessed with was Patrick having his mouth open, and it was just in like the most random places or like funniest edits. I had like a whole page dedicated to that on my blog. And one of the most irritating posts to deal with was, do you love the color of the sky? The longest post that took forever to scroll past on your dashboard. This person just wanted to get the entire picture to fit in a photo set because there was a limit. It ended up being the worst, most frustrating thing possible when you wanted to just look at posts on your dash, but people loved reblogging it because everyone loved being annoying and frustrating. My personal experience on Tumblr. So like I said, I started Tumblr in December 2011. I used it religiously throughout high school. I would say I probably phased it out by like 2015, 2016 before I went to college, but even in college, I would occasionally open up the webpage. So I literally started at age 13 and I maybe used it less by like 17, 18, 19. The most formative years ever. I reblogged so much pop culture and memes. I don't even remember what my original URL was, but I noticed that a lot of blogs at the time would name themselves a word, take one letter within the word and make it into two, but it would still look like the original letter. And I found myself become part of the humor blog sector of the platform. It was really text post heavy and trying to get reblogs from being like quippy or witty. I wasn't that successful at original posts, but I did have one hit 100k notes before I left the platform. I just recently checked it because I was making this video and it's like at over 700,000 notes, so it's getting close to like 1 million notes, which is gonna be crazy. I curated a good balance of like pop culture while reblogging humorous posts, so I think that's why I was able to amass 10,000 followers, but I never really got over that. I remember making friends online and we started out in tiny chat rooms where we could like video call each other. We eventually migrated to Skype because it was more protected. Oh my god, if any of you are watching this, hi. We literally spent hours on Skype just yapping. I remember talking with my East Coast friends late into the night and then they would go to bed and then I would keep staying up and then I would hang out with the Kiwis. It honestly would have been such a slay if Discord existed back then. Could you imagine? This is as much Tumblr as my brain could possibly fit in. So if I missed anything or if you remember any of these, please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video and if you'd like to see more from me, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Had to Be There.